Hi everyone, and welcome to the Author Tells. We have Himangi Merchant, the author for Ripples in the Water, and I'm gonna let Himangi talk now. Himangi, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and your background? And yeah.
Okay. Hi everyone. I'm really excited to be here today. I'm from Mumbai, India, and I'm 25 years old. I'm a teacher by profession, and I love reading and I love writing. So if you have to describe me in one word, it would be avid reader. That's it. I love reading. And so this is the perfect app for me.
Yes, that is right. And how did you get into reading? Like, did you always like reading storybooks and things like that?
Yeah, I have loved reading since I was a kid.
Okay.
Actually, it goes to my mom. The credit goes to my mom. She used to get all these books for me. I had this huge library as a kid, and I had all types of books, and I used to love reading. So basically, my interest comes from there, from my mom.
Oh, that's interesting. And which are your favorite genres? What are the ones that you enjoy the most?
I like romance, and
Okay.
I'm not much of a fan of horror or torture or any of that. I basically like the happily ever after stories.
Ah, I see. Okay. So you're like all about the cuddly, mushy, fluffy things.
Not over the top, but till an extent.
Ah. And how did you get into writing? What was that journey like?
My writing journey. Okay, so I was actually I started with fan fiction, and I was just thinking one day, I can also write something. The what if? So from there, I started writing. I wrote around 600 words, and then I'm like, okay, this is rubbish. No one's going to read this. Let's just close it and let's just go do our work. So I dropped it. I dropped it completely. I'm talking about in the month of August, around 3 years back. I wrote 600 words and I completely dropped it. Then next year in the month of March, I was just going through my computer and my laptop, and I'm like, okay, what is this? Let's open this and see. And from there, I picked it up. I published around 1,000 words on that day. And my decision was like this: if I get one or even two reviews, I will think about going to the next chapter, or then just finish it off. So luckily, I got a good response, and I then continued to write. So from there, I started. That's it. It was completely unintentional. I had no clue that okay, I have to write. I like to write. I was like, okay, fine. I have an idea. Let's just go on with it.
That's interesting. So we need to thank those one or two reviewers.
Yes, exactly. The first review that I got, completely. It is. I have to completely thank you for it.
But that's very interesting. So is it that do you take these reviews and this feedback very seriously? Is that something that affects you as a writer?
Not now. In the beginning, yes. In the beginning, because you are very raw and it's completely new experience. And even the first time someone criticized me, today when I go back and look at the review, I completely agree with that person. Right. Because what they were saying was correct. I was making mistakes. But at that time, I was so upset. I had no idea how to react to this.
How did you react?
I could not eat dinner that night. I was so not exactly devastated. That would be a very big word, but I was completely sorry. I was like heartbroken. I did not know how to react. Yes, of course. Now, when I look back, I completely agree. That person was totally correct. But that's a journey. That's just a journey.
Yes, that's true. And I think that's a journey every writer needs to make in their own sort of time and space that, because reviews.
First good review and first bad review. Yeah. You cannot compare that to anything.
That's right. I completely agree. Definitely. And so talking about reviews, is that something that you gain inspiration from, like, the feedback? Does that change your story and plot a lot?
Yes, at times. Because if we are talking on about fan fiction,
yes,
it does change because we come to know what is on the reader's mind. And if they are giving me, if I get 2 or 3 or more reviews indicating in the same direction, it does influence me. I do start to think that, okay, maybe this would be a better way to take my story ahead.
Correct. That's right.
So it does influence in its own way. At times, also it does not. Because if I have a fixed storyline in mind and I know that, okay, this is from point A to point B we are going to go, then no matter who says what, I do continue on that journey. So it all depends on how much I have prepared in my mind.
Okay, that's interesting. So I think a follow-up question would be, what is your writing process like? How do you plan in advance, or is it just like you sit and type? Is that how it is?
I know the end point. I know where my character is reaching at the end of the story.
Okay.
But the journey, I let it go as I'm writing. I don't have anything in mind. Most of the time, what happens is I plan something that this is how my chapter is going to go, and it goes completely off track. And actually, I'm happy that it goes off track because it takes me towards a better direction.
Correct.
So there is no writing process. I just go as it comes. I'm sitting with my laptop, and as the idea comes in my mind, I start to write.
You start to write. Okay, that's interesting. And so then, what is your source of inspiration, I would say, to get started? Like, is it just randomly an image that comes to your mind, or from something you're reading? Or what is your major source?
Reading. I will just be reading something and I'll be like, okay, what if we twist this a bit? And this happens to a character who, like, just a random image that, okay, basically I run on the what if theory. I have a lot of what if scenarios going on in my head at all times. So I just keep following on that.
Okay, that's interesting. So, your writing process is actually quite interesting, because it's very it's spontaneous, I would say. It's very so have a lot of our writers say that our characters are not obedient and they don't listen to us.
They don't listen at all. I completely agree with that. They don't listen at all. They have a mind of their own. I have always believed that characters have a mind of their own. They decide who is going to be the hero and who is going to be the villain.
Villain. Oh, wow. That's nice. And can you give one such instance for Ripples in the Water? Like, what happened when you were writing that?
What such instance? Okay. So, the character of Allison, who is John's wife and then ex-wife, she decided for herself of how in the shade of gray does she want to be. That was completely the last scene in which I won't give out anything, but in the last scene when she has that complete dialogue with Sarah, she decided that completely of how much of a gray character she wants to be. In the start, if you read the starting chapters, she was a completely white character. She was so understanding and so, supportive of her husband, and then she was a very supportive character. And then in the end, that one dialogue when she says that everyone is selfish. Of course, I'm thinking about myself.
Correct.
So she had a mind of her own.
Correct.
She decided that, okay, here I want to keep a little bit, that my motives are secretive. You don't know what is on my mind.
Right. Yes, because as I read it, when I read it the first time, I remember, and I really wanted to hate her. I really, truly wanted to.
You can't. She's a so good image.
She does. I mean, she's like everything's like she's like an angel. It's like everything she's giving up and she's sacrificing, and I'm like, come on, there's got to be something wrong with her. But yeah, that was a very, very interesting character twist, and especially for Allison. And can you tell us a little bit about the other characters for Ripples in the Water? Maybe inspirations or anything, yeah.
Okay, so basically this is a journey about a girl who is living a very normal life. A life that she's an expected routine. Correct. Get up, go to school, do your work, just an expected routine. And suddenly she's pushed into this world that she has no idea of how to survive in. Correct. So the main, in the beginning, if you see, Sarah is very confused. She has no idea of how to live in this world. She's trying to find her place. And basically that's her journey. In the end, she's satisfied with where she is. She understands that, okay, this is what I am, and she accepts it. Yeah. I think that is what we all do in life. We grow up. As we grow up, when we are in our teenage years, we're still trying to find ourselves. we don't know what we are, and we are not even, I would say, like, we are not satisfied with exactly who we are. But as we grow older, we just understand, okay, this is what I am, and if you don't like it, your problem.
Correct.
I'm not going to change. So basically, that is Sarah's journey from that insecure teenager to finally growing up and understanding that if you don't like me, that is your problem. That is not my problem.
Right. That's right. That's right.
And about John, John is like the perfect supportive character, the hero. He is a hero. There is no other word to describe him.
Yes, I completely agree. He is a hero. Yes.
He is that typical hero you read about in every book or see in any movie.
Correct.
He's just perfect and he's there.
Yes, and he's always there for, I mean, I get, because there's a lot of conflict for John because he's technically attracted to Sarah, but at the same time he's married, he's been mated for quite a while. So he
does not want to cheat on his wife. He is a very loyal person. Correct. He understands that, okay, I have committed to her, and that is I cannot cheat on her. I cannot do that to her.
That's right. That's right. It's his character is actually quite interesting, and how it changes, and especially the dramatics of how he just sweeps in. I mean, that was like that fangirl moment for me. I'm like, he's swooping in to save the day, which is it was quite interesting. But yeah, that's interesting. So the story and the characters, they're all so well put together now that we look at it. So can you tell me a little bit about even the editorial process? Because I know we went through a whole huge structural change for it. So what was that like for you? Did it, the structural change, did it affect the story you had in mind, or is it something that you very...
No, not really. What I was doing was one chapter a day. That was the only thing I was focusing on. That, okay, I have a chapter in front of me. I have to read through it, make the corrections, and then go ahead. When I finally read the book after I finished making all the changes, then I was like, okay, now I'm happy with it.
Okay.
So till then, I had no idea of what is going on. I was just going chapter by chapter. After, it is like this. You don't know the puzzle till you don't put all the pieces together.
Yes.
So I was just putting the pieces together, and then I knew, okay, the puzzle is now somewhat made.
Correct. That's right. And since this is based in a paranormal world with vampires and succubus as well, I know there's one reference. Yeah,
one reference.
Yeah. But is that genre something that entices you more than? I know you said horror is not something that you're looking to divulge in, but is paranormal and fantasy elements is something that you see yourself writing in the future more often?
It is interesting. It is very interesting topic. It is a very interesting genre as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it's tried and tested, basically.
Yes, that is right.
It's a tried and tested genre, and it's a very interesting topic. Even if you are not a hardcore reader, this is something you will like to enjoy. You will read it. Yes. So some genres are very selective, but supernatural is not. Everyone reads it. It is not something that people will say, no, this is not of my liking.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, there is a big craze for vampires, especially amongst teenagers. I mean, I remember when I was a teenager, I was quite crazy.
They're sexy, that's it. That is the line.
That's true. That is completely true. And you've introduced some new, very interesting superpowers for the vampires. So, anything that you think that you want that special ability for yourself for one of the characters?
Not really. No, the drawbacks are as much as it is good and bad. Yeah. So I'm happy. I'm Sarah. I'm happy. I don't want to go into that world.
No vampires. No turning into a vampire. Okay, that's interesting. So I think my last question here would be, what do you think your readers, what do you want to tell your readers about the book? What is it that, they should expect going into it, or, any questions you think that they'll have for you?
They should expect a smile on their face. Because that is what I had on my face when I finished reading the book after final edit. and it is a feel-good story.
Correct.
You will fall in love with the characters, especially John, and you will just like it. It is a nice journey, a comfortable journey. There is not much up and down. There are conflicts, but not as much as you will be. There is not that much angst. It is a simple journey, a nice journey, and you will have a smile on your face at the end of it.
Okay.
So that's it. It's a feel-good story.
That's great. Thank you. Thank you so much, Himangi, for telling us all about ripples in the water. And I'm hoping that all our readers on the app are going to love it as much as we both do. So
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me over.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.